Welcome, welcome to another episode of Off Leash with Dr. Pete. I'm your co-host, Molly, and we are so grateful that you joined us for today's show. Remember, we're never here to say what you want us to say. We're just here to be an advocate for your pet.
Amen.
Amen. And I'm having a hard time hearing right now, so I hope that the settings are okay.
Sure.
Because I have a cold, and I just got off an airplane, which is not the best thing for a cold.
Or anybody on the airplane for that matter.
Yeah, I know. I was actually just telling Celia that I was trying to find a mask at the airport to wear when I flew home.
And you couldn't.
And I went up to one of the guys in like the yellow vests that worked at the airport. And I was like, hey, do you guys have a mask I can borrow or like that you could find for me? And they're like, who the hell wears those anymore? I was like, me, because I don't want to get anybody sick. I'm sorry. And I could not find one.
Well, it's going around this time of year. So,
it is.
Yep. I have some technicians at work that have it. And
Celia's sick.
There's a lot of stuff going on. Yep.
Jake was sick. Bryce, I guess, was sick. Everybody was sick this past week, I guess. So, talking about being sick, we're going to talk about, oh, I got my wiener dog that's trying to get up on my lap. Miss Jader Potato. We are going to talk about something kind of a little depressing today. I'm not going to lie. So when I was on my little vacation, I had a friend of mine text me, and she has a dog that was, I can't remember, 15?
Yep.
15. And he's coming to the end of his life, and she's about to put him down. And so then I called you. We got into this whole conversation about what's the best way to put a dog down. How do you know when it's time? And she wanted to do an at-home euthanasia. And you suggested it's kind of easier at the clinic.
Well, it's obviously easier for us, and what happens when you have a home euthanasia, for one thing, they're reasonably expensive.
How expensive for our area?
So I'm going to tell you, I'd have to take, it probably is, by the time you load up everything, drive to the house, and if you take a technician with you to help set the catheter, you can easily, and I don't mean to make this impersonal, but it'd be 2 hours probably. It depends on where they lived and everything. And the other thing is the dog is in their own environment, and you're trying to set a catheter in that environment, and you don't know how good the lighting is. And, it's always just easier. It's easier at the clinic, and that's what we do. We set a catheter, and then we put a line on, and we go in a room and do it. And you kind of have control of everything. If you need anything extra, sometimes we give them a little propofol or something before we do it just to settle them down if they're anxious. And then, but if people want to have it done at home, they're certainly welcome to have it done at home. And there's a lot of veterinarians that do it at people's homes.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that. Though you have to worry a little bit about the legality of a lot of stuff. And so I can't really send anybody out from the clinic, a licensed technician, to do it because we have our controlled substances, and they're really not supposed to leave the building.
Yeah.
Other people, if they have a veterinary van, and they drive that around, that's a little bit different thing. But I've gotten used to what I've gotten used to. So for me, it's a lot more comfortable to do it in the confines of the hospital. And then, especially lots of times, you're going to have to transport that animal back to the clinic. And then, that creates,
Wait, for what? Cremation?
Well, for an individual cremation. Sometimes the client will bring the dog down. We'll do the euthanasia at the house, and then the client will bring the dog back to the clinic, and then we'll make arrangements so there's all these things. So really what veterinarians nowadays are doing is they're acting as their client's funeral director.
Yeah.
So I don't know that everybody thinks about that. And we usually, a lot of people really feel bad, and most people feel really bad. And, we send them a card, and every once in a while send them a planner. Let them know that we understand the feeling.
Is the worst feeling.
As veterinarians, we do that. We usually end up euthanizing our own pets. In fact, I usually have somebody else do mine at the clinic.
You can't be in the room for it?
Oh, well, I'm in the room to say goodbye, and then, but that's the way I do it. So I think everybody has to understand they should do it the way they want to do it, and not the way their sister or uncle tells them to do it. The way they want to do it. So they should grieve in their own way. Some people want to sit in the room for a little bit after. Some people don't want to sit in the room at all. They've had their chance to say goodbye. You got to play it by ear. And then you try to say something comforting to the client, and that becomes difficult. And,
Yeah.
and one of the things I always tell clients is, really, your little dog or your cat is in a bad place now. And so I think we're going to have to make he or she a little more comfortable. So when you're
Yeah.
doing the euthanasia, and I tell people that at one time, my first year or two, I really felt, horrible about the whole thing. And I felt like, at the end of the day, if I'd had 2 or 3 of those, that, it was kind of depressing along those lines. And so, but then I tell people, really, to be honest with you, this is the kindest thing you're ever going to do when they're like they are right now,
Suffering.
yeah, and they're suffering and it's hopeless. I think that's the thing you have to understand. That's the delineation you have to have is where we're at hopeless, and is there enough suffering that this is what we need to do?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a cat like that yesterday that I looked at, and it's hyperthyroid and it had some other stuff going on, and it had a real prominent spinal cord because it lost so much weight and everything, but it wasn't eating right now. And I'm like, this is too complicated to try to tell them if they have other options, And it takes a lot of guts to get in that room at that time to do this.
Because you don't want to just drain their pocketbook trying to figure out what this is.
No. I had one guy knew that some guy used to play basketball, nice guy. And he brought his dog in to put it to sleep. And he said, just have a really hard time getting up and down and walking around and stuff. I said,
Yeah.
and we had the catheter set, we were ready to do it. And I said, well, were you on anything like a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory or anything for discomfort or anything? No, we weren't. And he says, well, do you think maybe something like that would help? And I'm like, and I hardly ever do this. And usually once you get in the room, you're in the room and there's no turning back. But I said, I have a sample of some non-steroidal anti-inflammatories. I'll give you a 7 or 14-day sample and you can try it and see if it makes your dog better. Well, I euthanized the dog a year and a half later. The dog did great for a year and a half, 4 months, whatever. And they came in, and he and his wife both came in, and they thanked me for taking the time to, point that out to him. Yeah. But I never go ahead, if I can understand the record and understand that we've done everything we can do.
Yeah.
And that's the thing you want to do. You want to be careful. If something's hopeless, you don't try to give hope where it's hopeless. And it's kind of hard to tell sometimes because you don't really know the whole story. Usually once you get into it, you figure out, they're making the right decision.
Right.
Yeah. But I always ask questions. Do you have any questions today? And sometimes, and I said, because I don't want to answer questions when we're done.
Yeah.
And then I hear people tell me, "Oh, I'm never going to get another dog. I'm never going to get another cat because this is too bad." And I'm like, "Well, listen, you had thousands of good days with this cat. You had thousands of good days with this dog. You're going to have 3 crappy days. In fact, maybe 2 shitty days and 3 crappy days. I don't know what you're going to have, but you're going to have some bad stuff after this. But it's for every action, or just a physics. For every action, there's equal and opposite reaction. So you really feel bad. And every once in a while, I get somebody that comes by and says, they'll see me maybe out socially someplace in a restaurant or something. And they say, I think I need psychological help because of our losing our dog and stuff. And I'm like, what makes you think you need psychological help? And so I felt worse about the death of our dog than I did the death of my mother. And I said, well, that's not too unusual. I said, I might have thought you were screwed up 50 years ago, but I don't today, because that's because your mother, somebody else raised your mother. Mm-hmm. You raised this dog, so it's womb to the tomb stuff.
Yeah.
You got them started, and you took care of them their whole life. And people sometimes, they think the nicest thing we ever did, we had a bed and breakfast over on Lake Michigan or something like that, and we took our dog with us for a 3-day weekend or 4-day weekend. And dog was in the water all day long and had a great time. And I said, yeah, I'm sure you did have a great time, and good for you. Kudos to you for doing that. But quite frankly, your dog, you were there for your dog when your dog needed you, and that's today when we were doing the euthanasia thing. So I try to be reasonably pragmatic about it. And
they're just so sad.
Yeah, I know. Well, and somebody came in one day, actually somebody I've known for a long time, and said, she says, I worry about you. And I said, why is that? I mean, there's plenty of reason to worry, but, I'd make some poor decisions every once in a while, but try not to all the time. But she says, every time you euthanize a dog, it's like putting a little stone, a little pebble in your pocket. And I'm like, no, It's not like putting a pebble in my pocket. It might have been a one time, but it's not like that today. So I know what my job is, and I'm supposed to think with my head, and everybody else thinks with their heart.
Yeah.
If I think with my heart,
it becomes too personal.
It becomes too personal. That's right. And I hear this all the time. That said, well, my wife and I talked about it, or my husband and I talked about it. And we decided we're gonna go ahead and euthanize our dog. And then as soon as we made the appointment, she had 2 good days.
I was going to ask that. If you ever get dogs that come in and like on the day of the euthanasia, it's a good day.
You let the client decide what they want to do. It's not my decision. She says, well, we've had 2 good days. Well, who knows? Maybe you'll have 3 or 4. You want to go home and come back when you're ready? Yeah, I want to come back when I'm ready. And they need time to say goodbye. And a lot of people need time to say goodbye. We know when we do the most euthanasias?
When?
Christmas.
After Christmas?
No, Christmas and Thanksgiving.
Because all the family.
Well, the kids knew the dog. Kids knew the cat. They wanted to come back in town, say goodbye to the cat, say goodbye to the dog. And then we get a bunch of them the day after Thanksgiving, and we get a bunch of them.
That's so sad.
Right before Christmas and after
I just
Christmas.
wouldn't go into work after Thanksgiving.
Oh, it's all right.
I hated that.
You're helping them. You got it. So here's the deal.
I'm too emotional. I can't do it.
You can't do that. You can't allow your emotions to dictate how you're going to behave. And so you have to. It's a very imperative thing that you do what needs to be done. And every once in a while, I get 3 kinds of people. I got people that call it right on the money. Okay.
Like Perfect. Right when it's supposed to happen?
Right when it's supposed to happen. I get people that go too soon. The minute their dog has any discomfort or anything like that, then they decide they're going to euthanize them. You don't need to do that if you can have, it's like, when you get old, you have this month has 31 days on it, 28 of them are going to be good. 3 of them are going to suck, and so you have the 3 sucky days and the 28 good days. What you do. And don't worry about it. Do we have to get the last 15 minutes out of every cat? Do we need to get the last 12 minutes out of every dog? You don't.
No.
So when it's time, it's time. Some people go too long. I've seen people go too long before.
Yeah.
And I don't ever tell them that because that'd make them feel bad.
Yeah.
But they just can't bring themselves to. You know what I hear all the time?
What?
I just wish my dog would die at home. I just wish my cat. I wish I would just wake up in the morning and
pass away in their sleep.
Yeah.
That rarely ever happens.
No, it doesn't happen very often.
Is it true that when dogs want to die, they run away?
Well, they do sometimes go to some place where nobody's going to find them. Yeah.
Why?
Just to be, they don't feel good and they don't want to be around anybody. So they go, and if they're kind of going around and round and down, if nobody finds them, they go around and down wherever they end up. Cats used to sometimes go out in a barn, you'd find them deceased, but that's a terrible way to go because, I don't know.
Then they find your decomposed body.
Yeah, well, they may have frozen to death or something, I don't know. So, but anyway, it's, I don't think too much about that, but I think people, it's a real art form to learn how to do it. And I'm a firm believer that if you're 50 years old, you make better decisions about this sort of stuff than you did when you were 22.
I kind of wish they did it with humans when you could decide.
So here's what humans do. With humans, they put them in
nursing homes.
Well, they put them in hospice.
And then they just wait till that's horrible.
It is. And they usually give them some sort of dissociative so they don't even hardly know they're on the planet Earth, for the last week.
That makes me so sad.
Well, it does. But people, here's the deal with people. You may get up in the morning and they're dead because they have heart attacks and strokes.
Yeah.
So
dogs don't have.
Yeah, you're not old enough to read the obits yet, but the obits will say was stricken suddenly at home. Stricken suddenly at home, which is with short notice left this earth or whatever. It's like, was, and they usually have some sort of religious connotation with the whole thing. But in the end, they had a stroke or a heart attack.
Yeah.
And if they're lucky, the heart attack killed them. If they're lucky, the stroke killed them. Because neither one of those, surviving these things and being 100% completely normal, it's pretty unusual.
I'd rather die at of old age at a heart attack than just sitting in a hospice care facility.
Yep.
I'd much rather take a toaster bath than sit at a hospice care.
Stick your head in the oven, something.
That's right. I don't know.
But anyway, this is kind of cloudy discussion.
I know. Sorry,
but
guys, but we got to talk about it.
yeah, we do. And the one thing you can't do, and I'm surprised this episode's taken so long, but one of the one things you don't want to do is have somebody come over your house and say, you know, if that was my dog, I'd put it to sleep. You know what? If this was your dog, you'd be emotionally attached to it and not put it to sleep.
Yeah.
So you have unemotionally attached people trying to make decisions for emotionally detached people. So
Emotionally attached.
So if you think you're going to tell your kids or your relatives or your friends when to euthanize their dog or their cat because you've seen them in a little short aliquot of time, you should just keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
Yeah, just keep your mouth shut and stay out of it. If somebody asks you for your opinion, give them your opinion. But just remember, it's not your dog. It's not your cat.
Well, we just had to put two, not recently, was it? By Bella and Ivy, two dogs down at your house.
Yep.
So when was Bella's time? How'd you know?
Bella's time was she just got to where she was fighting with all the dogs and getting caught in corners. She had
was she blind?
Cognitive dysfunction, yeah. But she just became less and less functional as a pet, and she didn't really seek out any affection from anybody. Just wanted anybody who got close to her wanted to bite him and do stuff like that. So she just got to where she didn't work with the program at all. You know, is she a nice dog? Yeah. When she was young, she was kind of a fun dog.
Yeah.
But she got older and she got cranky.
She was a pug beagle.
We went to my nephew's wedding. Yeah. Have you ever heard this story?
With Bella?
Yeah. Went to my nephew's wedding and it was, I don't know, 2 hours away and went up there. Went to the wedding, went to dinner. We were gone for a bit. And Ivy and Bella were in the breezeway.
Get a little closer to your mic.
Yeah, they were in the breezeway, and Bella decided to
bite Ivy.
Well, get crappy with her.
Yeah.
And then Ivy, which was a pit bull, reached over and probably bit her in the head and popped her eye out. So
I do remember this. That was awful.
So he came home and here's Bella's eye popped out. So he just took her down to the clinic and gave her a little propofol, knocked her out, and put a little grease on the eye and popped it back in.
No, you did not.
Oh yeah, it still worked after that. It was great. This, proctosed.
Oh my God.
Proctosed eye, and I was like, oh my gosh, popped it back in and put some artificial tears on. It was fine. She saw it.
Was that a first for you?
Oh no, I've done that before.
You popped dog's eyes back in.
I just didn't have.
Was it like just hanging out with like a little?
Well, it didn't hang out very far. It was just out of the socket. And of course, with those dogs, it's not hard to do that. So anyway,
it's so gross.
I don't think Bella ever picked on Ivy much after that.
No,
but she would fight with the other dogs.
As she got older, she got so ornery.
Yep.
Over everything.
Territorial about the whole house. Yeah. So
she bit me a couple times going over there.
Well, Ivy, we euthanized her. She had a brain tumor.
Yeah.
And that was her time. She was not happy. And so when the dog's not happy, and sometimes and I'm surprised this episode's taking this long, but sometimes if they have a happy tail wag, I'm pretty much obliged to leave them alone. Yeah. But if they lose their happy tail wag, they haven't wagged their tail in a period of time.
Or eat.
Yeah, or they're not happy to see you in the morning, not eating. Yeah, all that sort of stuff. Do we really need to? We just need to make sure we're not selfish for ourselves.
Yeah.
You follow me?
Yeah.
Don't be selfish for yourself. Do what's right for them. And then that's your responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And your responsibility is to see that there's no pain and suffering if you can help it. Yeah. Well, and I feel bad for your friend. We're going all the way back to the start of this conversation.
I sent you a photo of her dog. He's all arched over.
Yeah.
His ribs are showing in his spine.
Yeah.
That brings me to another point. She asked a very odd request.
What's that?
She goes, do you know anybody that could make a pelt out of my dog?
Oh, that is not a request.
One time I went to the taxidermist and they were doing a dog. And I was like, what's with the dog? And they said, oh, people do this all the time. After their pets pass away, they get their pet taxidermized.
Yeah, well, that's news to me.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I went to the taxidermy place. He's like, this is pretty common, actually. I was like, what? Because it was literally a dog sleeping in the corner. I'm like, people put their pets in their house.
I'm not sure that I agree with all this stuff. And more and more I go to, as I get older, more of my friends are passing, and they go to the things, oh, he looks really natural in the casket. They usually look like hell. I mean, they're deceased, they've lost the color and they've lost their color. And yeah, it's them all right, but I'm not too sure that, I mean, that's the way it was done with everybody for years. And there's a lot more people just getting their remains or cremains spread here and there. I did that.
But I mean, I kind of get it a little bit with the dogs because when Brando died, I took a lock of his tail. It's no different.
Nope. I get that. In fact, we do a little impression sometimes of the nose and the paws. Yeah.
That's
for
cute.
people. And send them to them in a sympathy card. So that's what it takes a little bit of time, but it's fine.
Yeah.
You know what? They were loyal to their family and everything. And so sometimes it's nice to have something to remember everything by.
Yeah.
And, I'd have to tell you, when I was young, I had a dog named Bandit.
Bandit was an asshole.
Yeah. You never met him, I don't think.
Oh, yeah. You used to take him to the clinic, I thought. No,
Buddy.
that was Buddy.
Bandit was well before that. Anyway, when he passed, my dad came over one day and said, want to go to lunch? I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll go to lunch. So he says, well, I thought maybe you'd like to, maybe we can talk a little bit about Bandit. And I'm like, really? I mean, my dad was the last person I thought understood how I felt about that dog. And I told him, I said, the dog happy to see me when I get home.
Yeah.
Not everybody else is. I said, and this dog went to work with me every day.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we used to go to football games. We'd take him to the football game with us. And yeah. And he'd run around. And
what kind of dog was it?
It's just like a little white dog. Like a little Lhasa Apso or something.
I thought it was a Sheltie. Didn't you own a Sheltie?
No. Yeah, we owned some sort of Sheltie dog. Sunny was her name.
Sunny, that's
We
right.
had Sunny and Bandit at the same time. I got a T-shirt at home that has a picture of Bandit.
Oh, I have seen it.
Yeah,
you wore it one time.
Yeah, I wore it one time.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah. Maybe I even wore it on one of these podcasts. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think you did.
Yeah. But anyway, so you have, you try to memorialize things the way you want to memorialize them and do the things for them that, and it's hard. And I think it's hard the very first time. I think it becomes a little easier as you get a little older.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you start to get, and even sometimes with children and stuff, the death of a dog may prepare them for the death of a grandparent.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I don't think I would be prepared to put Sage down anytime soon. That would make me so sad.
Yep. She's a really good dog.
She is, but she has issues. We were just talking about how she got, TPLO surgery?
Yep.
Now she might have to get another TPLO surgery.
There's an elbow.
Elbow?
You had elbow surgery, yeah. TPL is your cruciate ligament in the back.
Is it?
Yep.
What's the front one? Coronoid?
That coronoid process. Yep.
That's it.
Elbow dysplasia.
Yeah.
Yep.
She has hip dysplasia, elbow dysplasia. She's a hot mess.
Yep.
But she's the best dog.
Yep. Very good dog.
So,
but you're lucky now. I mean, quite frankly, I think if I was going to, for people who are listening to this, I'd say do what you can do to prevent the discomfort of getting old. They make this injectable called Librela, an anti-nerve growth factor. They've made nonsteroidals for a long period of time. Previcox, Rimadyl, Carprofen, Deramax. They make all those. They make injectables. I really like the injectable Adequan, which is a nutraceutical in injectable form. And they make Cosequin and Moviflex and all those things. And most of these things that make dogs comfortable can be sort of like a Long Island iced tea, that there's a lot of stuff put in them. Them a Long Island iced tea.
You should see the meals that I make for her at home. I give her the hydrolyzed salmon.
Yep.
And then she gets coconut oil on top, Cosequin, and then Myos, the Fortropin, and the green lip muscle.
Yep.
And then I think that's it right now.
Yep. And eventually she'll have to be on Carprofen or something like that.
Yeah.
And the arthritic dogs they'll go play, and then the next day they're stiff as the devil. I mean, I go play basketball every once in a while, and I come home. If I go downstairs and try to watch Sports Center or something like that and fall asleep after half an hour, I wake up an hour after that. I can barely get out of the chair. But, it is kind of what it is.
Getting old sucks.
Yeah, getting old sucks. But, be responsible. I'm not telling you need to, if it's your dog and Sage is your dog, so you're going to have to make the decision. I'm not going to say today's the day, Molly. Or I'm not going to say a week from today is the day.
Look who's calling you.
Yeah.
Anna Marie.
Anna Marie, yep.
I think her dog's going to live forever.
Yep.
She spends so much money on
stuff.
What is it? Proactive care.
Yep.
Proactive care.
Yep.
We were just down at Global Pet Expo, and she was showing me like this mat that sends like electro pulses to her dog for like some type of, I don't know, a lot of it's holistic.
Yeah.
But her dog looks great. It's 13.
Yep.
Right? 13?
Her dog had copper storage.
Well, her dog, I'm just saying for the age that dog is, you would never guess.
No, I know.
In a million years.
No.
I think last time we saw her, I was like, your dog's like 8, right? And she's like, no, he's like 13. I was like, woof.
Yeah.
I hope my dog looks like that at 13.
I would too.
But she spends a lot of money. She does like the laser therapy. She's really trying to get, now it's your wife.
Yeah.
You're popular today.
Yeah.
So
well, I guess we're going to have to close this one out.
Yeah, let's wrap up. Any closing thoughts that you have?
No, not really. I mean, just use your head. I know it's hard not to use your heart, but it has to be some sort of combination of both of those, your head and your heart.
That's right.
So, and make the decisions based on what you think is best. The tail wag thing is a big deal. So if they're wagging their tail, probably I'm okay.
What if the dog doesn't ever wag their tail?
Well, then they're kind of cynical about life. Most dogs wag their tail unless they don't have one.
I don't think Jade wags her tail.
Oh, she wags her tail all the time.
What do you mean?
Yeah. Jade or potato.
I just see her hump the other dogs.
Yeah. Oh, she wagging
Once
her tail
she stops humping,
that,
she's done for.
Yep.
Then it's her time. All right, well, let's get some outro music going.
Okay. Try not to think of this as a real depressing podcast.
No, I think it's super important to talk about.
Yep.
Because I think a lot of people don't know the right time.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do know the right time, and I always compliment them and tell them when they did. If I thought they did the right thing at the right time, I always compliment them. You guys did good today. You got 3 crummy days coming up or 4 crummy days. I don't know how many crummy days you got going on.
Yeah.
But some people tell me like 6 months afterwards, they just think of the dog and cry. So,
yeah.
Yep.
That'll be me.
Hell of a relationship with a dog when you feel that way about it. And so learn to relish the fact that you had that kind of relationship with a pet.
And in your last final days, do stuff that your dog loves to do.
Yep.
Take him to the beach. Let him eat a hamburger or something.
Sure.
Take him out for ice cream. Bend all the rules of Pete.
Yep.
No beef, no milk, no wheat.
Yep.
Well, we sure appreciate you guys listening along with us today. We hope that we've been able to share some information that will help you love your dogs and animals as much as they love you. Don't forget, always treat the treatable, prevent the preventable, and we will catch you on the next episode.
You bet.